Well, I'll start the same as ever. What have you got? Team news for the weekend?
No, everyone's fine. We've obviously got the international boys back as well. So yeah, there's no changes, not that I know of at the moment. And 24 hours is a long day in football, so we'll see what brings tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, everything should be fine.
After what happened last week with the late winner, has it been a tougher week to lift the players, or is it business as normal? Have you noticed a spring in their step?
No, it obviously, winning games or playing well naturally gives everyone that lift that you don't need to work too hard at it. What happened on Saturday was a real kick in the proverbial, so to speak, and I think there's a picture of me when I went down on my knees at the end of the game, and it was my whole sort of team talk changed from okay, we've given everything we can, which is a good point, and blah blah blah, to what am I going to say to pick them up now? And you start thinking about that, because I felt for the boys. They didn't deserve it. They I don't agree with the perception that they're not trying. The stats they're producing, the effort they put in, and even against 10 men, normally there's a little bit of ebb and flow to a 11 v 10. It's normally not camped in a half, and it was camped in a half, and to have that was a blow. So yeah, it changed the plans a little bit for the week, what we planned on doing for the week. And Monday I took all the group that were on the recovery took them all for a walk down the Trent and bought them all a cup of tea and a cup of coffee, and we had a good chat and just tried to make ourselves feel a bit better, for the challenges ahead, because there's no point feeling sorry for yourself.
You make an interesting point about the accusations of not trying, and maybe some of the boos that have crept in at times. Do you think those things have affected them at all?
No, I think football's a very emotional game, and I don't know whether we'd have got the same if it had ended up 0-0. There's an expectation when the team are down to 10 men, but how often do you see something happen where you can't break them down and it becomes harder? Exeter normally play with a slightly higher line, and we did loads of work on penetration and runs and third man running and stuff, and then for them 25 minutes in to sit deep with a back five changed that, and we had to come up with different ways. But it was tough. It was tough on everyone, tough on the fans. They obviously they were sick as parrots after the game with what happened in the last minute. Tough on the players, tough on me. But we have to take that deep breath, take that Sunday just to try and get our heads right, and I had to lift myself first and then come in and work on the boys, and then you have to get back to work, because if you feel sorry for yourself, then you're not going to be able to bounce back.
Personally, is that hard? Because obviously you're the one they'll look to for the inspiration, but you've got to find those words and find the right things to say. That can't be an easy thing to do. No,
and it's just like any time in football. If you're 2-0 up in a game playing well, everyone wants the ball. You see it time and time. Everyone wants the ball, everyone wants a piece of it, everyone wants to make a run. It's great. When you're 1-0 down in a game and you're chasing, and the opposition are the better team and the crowd on your back, people hide, and that's a natural thing. It's character, and at the moment, this group of boys, they are massively up for everything that's going on. They are up for the pressure. They are giving everything. I look at the last 3 games. We were much better than Carlisle, and that was a fantastic response from the Cheltenham game. I thought we were better than Morecambe on the day, but we couldn't get it over the line. And then I thought we were much better than Exeter with 11 v 11 for 25 minutes, and much better than them with 11 v 10. But we ended up with a real body blow. So these boys need to understand there's not a lot wrong with them at the moment, and we can do this.
Feels like deja vu asking this question about money and payments. The news has emerged that you've been paid. That's great news, but has it been a tough month because of the uncertainty still there, or have everyone been able to plough on?
It's in the background, I'm not going to lie, it's in the background, but this club and certainly people from Paragon, it's been a really, really tough time for everybody, and no one intends for this to happen. It's a really sad situation. And like I say, I feel for everybody from Paragon to Notts to the chairman. He's lost his business. Everything's gone wrong in the last couple of months, but it is in the background. There's no denying it's not there, because that one was part of the other. But, and it is a big but, we have got a job to do, and them supporters, the 10,000 odd that come the other day and were disappointed, we've got to try and, by May the 4th, put a smile on their face and make them want to forget this season, but be celebrating at the same time.
Stevenage on Saturday, how do you approach that?
The same way we approach most games. We work out what the opposition are about. We try and train for it. We try and train for what we're about and how we can hurt them. Stevenage are a big, strong team, very athletic. Physically, you've got to match them. Scored a lot of goals from headers, set pieces, their threats. So we've got to do all of these things that League Two demands to win a game of football, and we'll work hard on them. And we'll make sure that we're ready to try and play our game. And it's away from home against a team trying to get in the playoffs. So there's going to be no easy ones for these 7 games.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
When you took the players down the Trent on Monday, what was the reasoning behind that, and what did you have to say to them?
Well, the reasoning was they were on a recovery day, a lot of them anyway. But it was just a bit of squad togetherness. Sometimes if they go off and do their gym stuff, it's the same old, it's the same routine. So we just had a nice walk, bought them all a cup of tea or coffee, cost me an arm and a leg as well. And just had a chat. We walked for half an hour down to the cafe, tiny little cafe, all got a drink, had a little chat outside. It was a nice day, nice scenery, got different groups talking to each other while we was walking down, but just to have a chat. And I wanted to reiterate to him, when I arrived, you look back to when I arrived, some of the performances were way off the mark, so to speak. Fitness levels, we struggled to be in games. The last 3 games, we've been the better team each game, and the performances, by and large, from the defending, we should have had 3 clean sheets. The defending, the doing the set pieces, the doing that side of the game, the effort, the energy, it's been fantastic. They've given everything, and I wanted to remind them of that. Because it's easy to come off and go, well, we lost. And I know it's all about results now, but you have to put in performances to get results. And at the moment, they're giving everything. We got 4 points. We should have had 5. Perhaps we didn't deserve to end up with a win against Exeter, but we certainly should have had 5. Should have been unbeaten in 3. Should have been 3 clean sheets on the trot. There's so many things we should have been. Our performances warranted. So it was just to tell them and go through how good we can be, but we've got to keep that going. We can't drop back into a Cheltenham performance where we're caught between two swords and can't do either or.
How frustrating is it? I know everyone makes a lot of the home form, but if you'd have won those games against Morecambe and Port Vale, you'd be out the bottom 2 by now. How frustrating has that been? Yeah,
listen, you can look all the way back to when we played Bury at home. We have a penalty with 15 minutes to go. You can look back to Colchester away when they score a deflected goal. If we don't concede with 5 seconds to go to half time, we probably win that game. There's so many things you'll look back on, but you have to make your own luck, and I believe there'll be a twist in this relegation fight, but we've got to make sure that we do our part to make sure the twist is in our favour.
And what kind of game are you expecting against Stevenage? It's notoriously quite a difficult place to go, isn't it? A very strong and physical team. Yeah, and that's exactly it. They League Two, you have to have certain qualities, and they've got them, and that's why they are where they are. I think his manager's done a fantastic job there. They're not one of the top budget teams, but they're certainly got angles of hurting you from everywhere, and they've got some good players. Like I say, if we don't match the physical side, then it's going to be a really, really tough afternoon for us. So it has to start with that. We're not worried about how pretty we look or anything like that. It has to start with League Two and the basics, and hopefully we can find them moments and them sparks to change the course of the game. I think last week when I spoke to you after the game, you spoke about being braver in the final third, making the right runs. Is that something that you worked on this week?
Yeah, we've done loads with the boys, and it's not just down to the forward players. All of us, we're all working hard. We're all looking to have that little bit of freedom about it, and it's not easy with what's going on, but we need to put a smile on our face. I know it sounds strange, given where we are. We need to put a smile on our face, enjoy our football, enjoy attacking, enjoy making things happen, and that's what we've been working on, trying to get that spark back, because we've got some really, really good attacking players. My job's to make sure we get in the right areas and make sure they know they've got to get in the box and into certain areas to get their goals. But they've got to enjoy, once they get there, they've got to enjoy what they're good at, and that is they're skillful players and they know how to score goals, and let's have fun with it.
When you took the players down by the Trent and had a chat with them, did they any grievances, any concerns that they had about the club off the field, or?
No, a few questions, normal, natural questions asked. You know, what's going to go on? Do you think we'll get paid? All this kind of stuff. Just a couple of natural questions, and that we didn't necessarily have the answers to. But we talk more about football. You know, we're not here to talk about the periphery of everything and use it as an excuse. We was here to just talk about. You know, I wanted to let them know they've done really well the last 3 games, and they should have got more from them games. And we need to look and go, okay, how can we get more from them in future, and not sort of look back and feel hard done by. And we had a good chat about that. People had their views. We had a nice walk. Luckily, no one ordered a cake or anything, or it would have cost me an arm and a leg. But and it was positive. Then they got back in, did their gym work, and the idea was that. We went home Monday afternoon feeling a lot better than we woke up Monday morning about coming in on Tuesday and really getting to work.
Great, thank you.
I know, I'm sorry to go over a couple of bits that we've already touched on, but how have the players reacted since, of course, that loss at the weekend?
Probably have to go through a process. I think they were all still a bit sore on Monday. You know, certainly Saturday and Sunday would have hurt. Monday would have been sore, but like I say, taking them down the Trent and having a walk and a chat and trying to get, you know, people talking, I think it's just helped. And we by Monday afternoon, by the time we'd all had lunch together and made our way home, I think we were looking forward to Tuesday training.
Have you got a good idea of who's up for the fight now? Are they all up for the fight?
Yeah, I think they are. Like I say, I don't agree with people who say, oh, they're not trying. You know, I'll just send you the physical stats that show how hard they worked. You know, 1 or 2 players covered nearly 14k on a Saturday, and they're putting everything into it. And like I say, you don't normally see them 11v10. Very rarely do you see a one-sided game where the opposition can barely get in your half. And that was the energy and effort we put in. At this level, it can be hard to break teams down that sit in and defend, and that's why you get sometimes the results with 10 men. But it was a body blow what happened at the end. There's no doubt in that. But we've got the character, we need to bounce back.
And it's still really tightening around relegation zone, of course, like only 3 points off safety.
Of course, and like you say, there was a twist. You know, with a minute to go, we had a point and Macclesfield didn't, and then a minute later they had a point and we didn't. And there's a twist. There'll be twists every week, I'm sure. We've just got to make sure we do enough to see if them twists can turn in our favour eventually.
I think we're speaking to Jim O'Brien shortly after the interview with you. What have you made of him since he's come in?
You're going to struggle to understand him, aren't you, with his accent? So, I'm going to get him to talk Cockney. He'll be all right. Jim's great lad, great talker, understands the game, plays without thinking about anything other than, you know, find the ball, want the ball, run. You know, he's not one you have to overcoach. So he's been a pleasure to work with. I think he's given loads to this team. I think you'll agree he's come in and given loads to this team and been a real positive signing.
What have you made of the partnership he's had in that midfield with Doyle coming into?
Yep, 2 experienced players that we haven't had to coach too much. They're great talkers. They're great in the dressing room, and like you say, they feed off each other. So listen, we did the best January window we could possibly do, given where we was. We had to go a little bit young and old, and I think we worked it absolutely the best we could. But we all know from that moment on we needed playoff form to get us where we wanted, and at the moment we're probably mid-table form and we're pushing to try and make it playoff form.
How important in a relegation fight such as this is that experience?
I think the experience and know-how of dealing with falling a goal behind or going a goal up, seeing a game out. You know, sometimes there are things younger players might not have the experience of that the senior boys have. So it's important that you've got that mix. So I think there's that, because when you've played football and you've played over 500 games, you've come across most of the different types of games. So you would have had an experience of it.
Just finally, touch on it, but what kind of test are you expecting against Stevenage yesterday?
Really, really tough game. They're very, very athletic, very physical. You know, got good height in their team. Set pieces are a threat, but they play good stuff in the right areas as well. And if we don't turn up with anything other than all the basics in abundance, then it's going to be a really tough afternoon for us.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Can I check it? Just wanted to ask a couple, just follow up something about the off the field thing. You talked about
when you had that conversation, not necessarily having all the answers. How much of a relief was it this morning? Did you know everything was going to be all right today, or was it an element of relief?
I didn't know. I don't sort of get involved too much with, not ringing the chairman, asking him anything like that. I'm sure if there was any issues or any doubts, he would ring me and say, look, I'm marking your card, and that never happened at any point. So, it's just the job's hard enough, picking up a group of players who have given everything and had a knockout punch in the last minute, and trying to get that bounce back for Saturday. So that's hard enough on its own, let alone worrying about off the field.
So do you almost treat, it sounds to me like you're treating no news as good news.
Yeah, I think that's the way, and I've got a good relationship with the chairman. If he's got anything he needs to tell me, he'll ring me and we'll have that conversation. But he hadn't this week, and I'm sure he's out there working hard to do whatever he needs to do. So while that's there, I can focus on the group of players that need me, and picking them up and making sure we get ourselves in a good place come Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and ready to try and put in a performance.